Good morning, grade 8s. Today is Wednesday, February the 27th. So today is the third day of our enumeration review. After our 5 days of enumeration review, we're going to move on to something else and enumeration will be done. So I decided today we should spend some time looking at rounding. I was looking at your math tests and more than half of you lost marks on question 13 and 14. Those two questions asked you to round the percentages to the nearest tenth. More than half of you did this wrong. So you lost marks. And if you don't figure out how to round, you will lose marks all the way through high school in every math class that you take because you're constantly being asked to round things. So this is a skill that you really, really need to master. And let's attempt to do that today, okay? So I am going to go through from the beginning how to do the rounding. I encourage you to take this one seriously and to really try to master this skill because it'll give you lots and lots of points. If you can get this part right, you'll score points on lots of tests, okay? So I'll flip over and we'll get started. Okay, I want to start by looking at this chart right here. This chart is super important because it is telling you the names of each of the place values. And you need to look really carefully here where the decimal is. See, this is the decimal here. So on the right side of the decimal, the very first unit that you see there is a tenth. And then it goes hundredth, and then it goes thousandth. And this THS is really important because the THS is telling you that it is to the right of that decimal. Everything on the other side are numbers that are greater than 1, right? But this is that first one column, then we got 10, 100. This is all within those numbers between 1 and 100. Then we go into that second group of 3 that are in the thousands, third group of 3 in the millions, then we get the billions, then we get the trillions. But we get this 110 and 1, 110, 1, 110, 1 pattern here. Okay, this is a chart that you need to have memorized. You need to know the names of each of these things and what that means for the digits that you are dealing with. If you don't understand this piece, you will never be successful with rounding unless they tell you round to 1 decimal place. Then you'll be able to go, oh, I want to round to this spot here. But if they tell you tenth, you need to know what that means, okay? So this is a really, really important chart, and I encourage all of you to memorize that. Okay, next up. This is your basic 3-part strategy to solving any kind of rounding question. The first thing you need to do is to know the place value that you are rounding to, okay? And that is where the chart comes into place. You need to understand that. Then you need to look to the digit to the right of the number that's in that rounding place value. That digit is called the key digit, and this key digit is really essential to being able to round. You have to look to the one to the right. If that key digit is 5 or more, you round up. It's as simple as that, okay? If that key digit is a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, then you don't change the number. You just cut off the number at the place value that you are rounding to. If that number is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you change the number up, you round up. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we are going to go through and we're gonna look here at some of these problems. So let's say this is the problem that you've been given here. You are told to round to the nearest tenth, and this is the number that you have here. So the first thing I need to do is find my key digit. So this number 4, this is my 10th place column. Based on the chart that we just looked at, it's the one directly to the right of the 0. So the number that's to the right of the 10th is my key digit. So it's right here, okay? This is not the 10th. This is the number to the right of the 10th, and that's my key digit. If that number is greater than 5, then I'm rounding up. So I am going to round this to 17.5. Because the 7 is bigger than a 5. It's 5 or greater. Okay, so the next one here, it is saying to the nearest 10. So the nearest 10, I need to know what that is in terms of my place value. It's the 1. The 1 is in the tens column. There's no TH here, so this is above the decimal. So my key digit is the 4. There's my key digit. So I am not going to change the 1 because the 4 is less than 5. So this is going to become 29610. And that is my nearest 10. If that 4 were a 5, this 1 would become a 2. Okay, that's how the rounding works. All right, next one. Nearest hundredth. It's got the TH on the end here. That tells me I am to the right of the decimal. Okay, so this first one here, this number 1, this is the 10th place value. The 4 is the 100th, which means I need to look one number past it to find my key digit. The 5 is my key digit. And since this 5 is 5 or greater, I have to round up. So it's going to be 3.15. Okay, the 4 is rounding up to a 5 because this 5, this one beyond, this key digit is big. Okay, next one. Nearest 1. The 9 is the 1. It's the one beside the decimal here. Okay, so my key digit is the 2, and the 2 is small, so it's going to stay 479. All right, last one. Nearest hundredth. Nearest thousandth. This is telling me that I am to the right of the decimal. This one is a 10th. This one is a 100th. So the 8 is my 1000th, which means the 4 is my key digit. Okay, and because my key digit is less than 5, I don't change my 1000th. It stays the same. So this would become 36.198. And there it is, rounded to the nearest 1000th. Now there's one more thing that I want to talk to you about. Let's take a look at this nearest 1. Let's imagine that we're just going to change this really just a small amount here. So 479.6983. Okay, this wants to be rounded to the nearest 1. When I look at this, my key digit, which is the one to the right of my nearest 1, is a 6, which means this has to round up. So the 9 has to change, it has to go up, which means this 7 is going to change. So this now becomes rounded to 480. Okay? It's the tumble effect of the fact that this is a 9 and it has to round up. Okay, so keep that in mind too. That is a little bit of a tricky part of that rounding there. Okay, so your job today is to do questions 1 to 26 on the worksheet that is there for you in your numeration section titled Review Day 3. It shouldn't take you very long because the questions are fast. Like I've already done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and they go by pretty quickly. All right, have a good day, everyone. Let's talk to you later.